welcome to Respect with me. I'm your host, Micaya, and my co-host, Brandy.
What's up, y'all?
Okay, so Brandy, we had some technical difficulties last week, did we not?
We did. We did overcome, though, but we had them, yes.
And so for the record, I did, in real life, recite every word of Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday to You, but it got a little edited out.
I was confused.
That's okay. It happens to us at a certain age.
Right.
But I hope you had a nice birthday last week. It was, I was trying to recite the words without singing it to you because you don't want me to sing. I promise you that.
I had a great birthday. I just friends, family, I had cheeseburgers, I had ice cream, I had cupcakes, I had some margaritas, and then I had indigestion. Yeah, but I had a good time.
Yeah. So this week, the DanceFest is making a big announcement. Do you know what that is?
Yes, we're talking about VIPs. Yes, that's exciting. So I know them already, right? But yes, exciting news who the VIPs are going to be. And it's not it's not all dancers, which is interesting. And I think not what people expect.
Well, they're not performing. They're just coming in and making a little appearance. They're people who have either performed or have supported in some way the DanceFest throughout the years. So why don't you name one of them?
Okay, so I'm always excited about RuPaul. I'm always excited about him, and I'm gonna spill it. I think everyone knows he won some Emmys last night. Congratulations. So it's always nice to just see, people get their props, their due, right? Yes. So I'll name another one of my favorites, Sterling. I love Sterling, listening to her on the radio, her sexy voice. I'm excited that she's a VIP. Yeah.
Yeah, so Sterling and RuPaul, straight up 100 are friends of mine. And so they're also friends of the DanceFest too, like you, Brandy. Yes. And so they've been coming, Sterling, I think, for a very long time. Ru has been coming for, probably the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, mostly every year. And it happens on his birthday, the DanceFest.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it happens on that weekend usually. And that's kind of a present he gives to himself to attend the DanceFest. So he'll be dropping by in the online show and just talking to us. We also have another supporter and lover and dancer, former, is Alicia Garza.
Much respect.
Yes, much respect. She used to be in Soul Force. Did you know that?
I did. She was coming in as I was going out.
Okay. See, I always forget how that overlap happens.
Right.
That one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, which to this day, I can't believe you have to say that and talk people into believing it. It's just the way I was raised. It is like, of course, but you have to, unfortunately, these days explain that to people. I'm tired.
I'm like, that's a whole nother episode right there.
Really. All right. Who else?
We have Kenichi. Okay. Yes, I remember. So the visual that comes to mind for me is him in that red baggy outfit and being flat on the floor and then raising back up to standing. You're just like, okay, where's the strings?
Yeah.
How is he doing this? What is he doing to work up to this? Just the muscle control there. So, I mean, that's just legendary.
Yes. He was one of the favorites of DanceFest. Once I brought him, people kept asking me, is he coming back? He had conceptual pieces. He had this RoboCop piece and a Michael Jackson piece and a Mono piece. He had so many pieces that told stories that were comical. And he had that classic move that came off the floor that I used to see him trying to teach other dancers backstage. How do you do that, you know? And then he left after being in DanceFest for many years. He went on to America's Got Talent and won.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. That must have been in my non-TV baby raising years. I'm still in them, but not deep in them.
Honestly, I've never seen that show. I think, in my opinion, I think it's a little rude for the way that people kind of degrade people's talent. But I shouldn't say that because I haven't really watched it that much. Right. But all of a sudden, our YouTube, the DanceFest YouTube, was blowing up. Kenichi, I was like, why is Kenichi's video blowing up? So it hit 1 million.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, somebody told me that he was on America's Got Talent, and then I watched him. I think I watched it for a while, so then I watched him win. And so that was thrilling. I was so proud of him. Yeah. And tell me about Poppin' Pete.
Poppin' Pete. Okay. Okay. So, oh my gosh, growing up, me and my sister. So, okay, let me back up a little. So he came to DanceFest, right? Obviously, and performed. And, you know, I knew, Poppin' Pete, but there was like some disconnect there. I was like, I know him, but it's not matching up. And it wasn't until like the last day, Sunday, where I finally was like, oh my gosh, Poppin' Pete was in Breakin'. Me and my sister watched that movie in front of the TV, doing all of the moves. It was not like a, you know, sedentary activity. We're gonna do Breakin'. We're gonna do the movie. So like I saw him and started like saying lines from the movie. And I think he just was like, okay. But I called my sister. I was like, oh my gosh. So that was very exciting for me. And I'm excited for him to be VIP. Yes.
Legendary. Legendary. Yeah. I follow him on social media, and I think just the other day he was in Target or something, and like More Bounce to the Ounce came on, and he started just dancing in the aisle. I'm dying because like he was killing it. He was killing it. He's a legend. He's a legend.
Doesn't everybody dance in Target when a good song comes on?
Not like him, honey.
Not like him, not like him. I wish, girl.
So speaking of legends, we also have legendary Fazo of Media Circus, hip-hop pioneer.
Yes.
He taught me so much history about strutting, about the styles that came from the Bay Area. I'm so honored that he is going to be making an appearance, doing that Media Circus style. Media Circus.
There you go.
Yeah, and of course the story of Media Circus is the first annual SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest. I'm at Theater Artaud. It's day one. We haven't had the show yet. I'm running around the theater just getting things together. He walks in. I never met him before because I don't know why. And he said, I'm looking for Micaya. And I was like, I'm Micaya. And he said, I'm Fazo with Media Circus. And how come we're not performing in your hip hop dance festival? I was like, I don't know who you are. Can you believe that? I didn't know, because I don't know, like I had my own set of knowledge of who I knew, and it was more studio stuff. And that's just my bad, right? My limited knowledge. And he had a VHS tape with him. We went into the office, he stuck in that VHS tape, and I was like, I am so humbled. I'm so sorry that you're not in my show. Can you perform tonight?
Wow.
And they went on stage that night.
Did they do like some glow in the dark stuff? Was it that year or some other year? I remember.
Other year.
Yeah. They probably couldn't set up the glow in the dark that quickly, but
maybe. And then who did we miss out? We got
Buddha Stretch.
Buddha.
Yes, yes. Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz is classic, the iconic piece from Mop Top.
Yes, right? Yes, it is. And that's just what you remember, right? I have these images, and they just come to mind for, you know, each dance company. So it's so exciting. I love DanceFest.
Yes, me too. That piece though, I think we were, even though he and Mop Tops came different times, I think that number one, the Dorothy that B-girl in that little dress, that was iconic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking yesterday to Moncel, who was the lion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because we were on this podcast together, and he told me I can tell the story. He said that was his worst performance in history. And let me tell you why, dancers, because, let me just breathe. This is why I tell my dancers all the time, you must rehearse in your costumes, okay? Mm-hmm. He rehearsed without the head of the lion, okay? When he put the lion head on for the performance, he couldn't see anything. So he was dancing blind. Honey.
Those are like my nightmares, okay? That's the night. I still have Soul Force performance dreams where like, I don't know the choreography. It's like, oh, we're getting ready to perform. What? So that would be a performance nightmare where you can't see. You know the choreography. But you can't see.
Yes, I had a Soul Force dream. I'm sitting in the audience of DanceFest, mm-hmm. and Soul Force was about to go on. And I looked to the side of me, and I think it was Becky, the girl that was supposed to start the piece. She's sitting here. And then I look over here, and it's Daniel, my other dancer. And I'm like, what are you guys doing here? And they said, don't worry. We taught the piece to your beginners. And
They've got it.
And I'm peeing my pants, right?
That is so funny. So for real, the stress dreams that I have are, so I'm a nurse and I used to work in the hospital. So I have continued to have dreams about not getting work done in the hospital. Like I forgot something, right? I didn't give this patient their medication. And the other one is Soul Force, getting ready to go on stage, don't know the choreography, got to get up there anyway, following what the person in front of me is doing.
And it's so real. It feels like you're there. It's terrifying. Oh, God. So here's the deal, and I'm going to be 100% with all of y'all. We were supposed to have a guest today, and we're not sure where he is, but it doesn't mean that you and I can't have a lively and rich and full conversation as we already had. So I'm ready to just keep going, and let's go on with this podcast.
Let's do it. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
So I get to be you for a minute. Okay. So you call this podcast Respect, right? Because in the dance community, that's a big thing. That's an important thing. How do you get it? When are the times where you haven't gotten it, and how's that affect you? So tell me about respect, and maybe tell me, what it means to you, times when you haven't had it, what it looks like. So just go.
I want to start with saying that there were shows that I produced at what is called Dance Mission, but before it was called Third Wave. And those shows were happening before DanceFest. And then DanceFest was this brainchild of thinking that what would it be like to put a hip hop dance company in a bigger theater setting where people sat down with programs in their hand and appreciated an intentional piece of art with a beginning, middle, and end, and maybe conceptualizing and all of that. That was a little bit revolutionary at the time because a lot of the hip hop dance was in battle format, competition format, and at the same time, there was this other subset of hip hop dance companies that were taking it to another level, that were saying, I have something to say, and I want to put some thought and energy into it so that there's clarity, just like a modern dance company or a ballet dance company would have. So the fact that 22 years ago, there was just that thought, it was pretty revolutionary because the only person that was doing it was Mr. Rennie Harris. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but he just received an award, prestigious award, and I don't remember the name of it, and this is just off the top of my head, for a good sum of money, and I'm so proud of him. So congratulations to him. outstanding achievement, and he is so well deserved. And I want the next one.
You're like right here.
Okay, sign me up. With other artists, but it made me really happy to see that he received that and he was being recognized. So yeah, I'm starting 22 years ago because, so we have this festival and it was in a theater setting, but it was like trying to couple, maybe that year or the next year, you know, getting like a publicist and saying, can you get some, you know, can we get some publicity?
Right.
Well, there lies a couple of things. Publicity, getting people to recognize this as a art form and a show and not just like some kids competition was difficult. Number two, hip hop back then had bad connotations to it. So people were like, are you gonna have guns? Are you gonna have drugs? I was like, are you kidding me?
Girl, people still be trying to do that in the comments when we get, you know, a news article review. You have ignorant people like, oh, was there a shootout? And it's like, okay, just leave, because just bye.
Yeah. And, you know, we can get into that later. That when we finally got our first reporter that came, dance critic, right? That dance critic didn't know the vocabulary of hip hop. So they were just like trying to explain popping or locking or breaking. And they were like, they were contorting and they were doing these hard, and I bless her heart, or his, I think was a woman, for trying, but it was a little disrespectful for not sending someone that at least knew what they were seeing, right? And so from there, I learned as I went, because all of this was new to me. I didn't come in as a producer. I came in as a dancer and a choreographer, creator, and someone that loved the community. And so I kept learning, and then I realized we can get grants and arts organizations to help fund this, and to just get a few of them to believe in us and made me say, okay, now what level can we take it next? Let's see what they're doing in other countries. And that's when it started blowing my mind. In my opinion, a lot of other countries support their dance artists in a much more
money. They have money. I mean, for real, because there was a dance company, Nobulus, and me and my roommate Lindsay, what's up, Lindsay? We went to Austria. We were like, well, let's go to Europe for 3 weeks. We're broke, but it's okay. We can stay with these different people, and we learned from them the support, the grants, you know, social services, like, you know, there's a network. So if you have healthcare that you don't have to pay for, if you have other things that are help, then you get to focus on your art, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
On your art. And sometimes I always look at all of the submissions from the festival that come in. I get about 100 every year, applications of dance companies who are wanting to perform. And I noticed that a lot of the ones from Europe especially are more formed out. They spend time to think of you know, they get us in the mood. They give us a nice chunky middle, a finish. And I think about like, well, they have that funding, they have that time to just sit and think about what they want to create. And that is really, that's inspiring. So with the DanceFest, I kept thinking, well, what do I want to do? If I want to bring these elite, extraordinary dance companies here, I want to treat them with respect that I would want if someone was bringing me. That respect meant that, of course, I'm going to fly them here. The DanceFest is going to provide their travel. And back in the day, my son and I would rent a van, bless his heart. He drove every one of those dancers back and forth to the airport, to the theater. He was so tired by the end of the weekend, but that's what we did. You know, we tried, you know, we got pizza And then I was like, I think we can get enough money this next year to give them something besides pizza. Woo! And then, you know, put them in a hotel. So it's been this gradual, let me try to make you feel as special as you are, including having these body workers backstage, massage therapists, physical therapists, and just doing whatever we can to have them have the best experience. I still don't feel like I do enough. I still don't. And I'm doing the best I can. And I really feel like it's good, but it's the best I can within the limits of what we have. So that's with the Dance Fest. With me as a teacher and choreographer, before pandemic, I'd be on the phone all the time explaining to people why I'm not going to give them a dancer for free, and how the word exposure is not going to pay our bills. Okay. Well, there's going to be a lot of people in the audience, and exposure, or you would love.
Exposure isn't going to buy me the shoes I need. Okay. Cause I'm dancing hard. I need shoes. I need to pay rent.
Yeah.
I don't think that the store is going to take my exposure.
Right. For my life, I spend my time, you know, here. This is my office, the DanceFest office, Micaya's office, working on administrative stuff for the DanceFest. Then I spend hours listening to music, conceptualizing things. I spent hours thinking about choreography and how things work. As you know, in a dance company, you can spend so much time on this much worth of material, and people look at a 5-minute piece and think of nothing, but you know it took so much time to do 15 seconds sometimes of work, because you're just like, try it this way, try it backwards, you go up, you go down, no, let's don't do that. And it's all part of the process. And
it is.
Then you have the studio space that you have to rent. You know, you have to have the person who's going to mix your music. I mean, I'm probably forgetting hundreds of things. You have your dancers. There's so many things that people just think dancers are just going to be free. So that's my very long-winded answer about respect.
Well, I mean, because of that respect, I mean, because of, you know, you conceptualizing DanceFest and wanting to bring dance companies to a place where they are being shown respect for all of the work that they put into it, and all of that listening to music, finding the right music. I mean, when I would like sub for your class, it's just like I'm driving and I'm like listening to a song and, oh, I like this song. And so then you start like choreographing in your head first, right? The amount of work that goes into that is just, I mean, much respect for all of the choreographers, all of the people out there creating dance. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. And that's just me having to sub for you every once in a while. You know,
the thing is how dare us enjoy and love what we do. And I think that's where people get a little bit like, well, if you love what you do, then you should just do it. And I mean, that's rude. You know, sorry you don't love what you do, other people, but I do. But it is also my line of work,
right?
And there's just so much to it. There's so much to it that there's even people who I think are going to get it. I have to explain it to them sometimes when I say I have this international festival, and then they're like, "Whoa, you fly them there?" I'm like, "Wouldn't you?" And I have to, and they're like, "Oh yeah." So we've come a long way. We really, really have. We really have, but we still have ways to go. As far as with dancers are concerned, I think a lot of young dancers don't understand the respect in the fact that, like what Kim was saying, respect where you've been before where you're going, and pay your dues. And I have a personal story with you, because I know you were in Soul Force, and you and my other very heavy hitter, Stephanie, didn't perform in DanceFest the first year because you weren't ready. And did you cry? Did you balk? No.
Girl, that was rough. That was rough. I remember not even just DanceFest, but other performances that Soul Force had lined up. And, you know, me and Stephanie work, right? We're in rehearsal, just sweating, paying attention, knowing that we have to earn our spot, you know, and knowing DanceFest is coming up and you're not sure, but then you see, you know, but then, okay, you're not in it, but, you know, I think also because of the people who came before you and went through that and who are in it, then you respect that place and you're like, okay, I respect this decision because I'm not ready and I don't want to go up there and be ready. Because even when you're ready and you think you're ready and you feeling ready, you get up on that stage with all of those other dance companies and you still are like, oh my gosh, I'm up here with these other people. Oh my goodness. And the weight of it. So you have to be ready. You have to be ready. You have to respect. If you're not ready.
Here's the thing is that you, the two of you stuck with it. And what ended up happening is the two of you became featured dancers of Soul Force. But unfortunately, since then, I've had kids and young people or whatever age people audition for Soul Force. I made it very, very clear that that could happen and they have to pay their dues. And they're like, oh yeah, it's okay. As soon as I take them out of something because I say they're not ready, next day. Yeah, I'm not ready for Soul Force right now. I have like jobs or, you know, they make up something. I'm like, bye. Go ahead. Bye-bye. Yeah, they don't want to put in the work. They want it right now.
There's work. Yeah, me and Stephanie we worked the DanceFest behind the scenes that year and continue to do it. I mean, it's infectious.
Yes. Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah.
So DanceFest, you were there for the very first DanceFest.
I keep saying I'm gonna pull out these pictures. As soon as we are done today, I'm pulling out these pictures so I'm ready next time. Okay.
You were there as a photographer, not official, but just unofficial. And I remember the DanceFest for a couple of things. The story I told you about, the first one, about Fazo. I also remember that my son and I did a duet.
I have pictures of that. I have black and white pictures of that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Okay, I have to bust those out.
Generations of hip hop. And basically my son and I were kind of like in this tumultuous relationship, and I was trying to find a way for us to spend time together. So I said, why don't we create a piece? So we'd meet at the studio, and he just kind of talked for a while, and he never would talk to me. So I would just listen. And then, cause he was, you know, like, how old was he? Gosh, 17-ish. Yeah. So it was exciting just to be able to talk to him. And then we get up and we just start creating together. And it was interesting because the piece we created was we didn't mean for it to be, but it was very on par with how our life was, you know?
There was like some battling. Didn't you have drumsticks? Did you have drumsticks? I don't remember. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think so, but we definitely dueled. We were definitely dueling. And so I remember that. But when did you actually perform? Did you perform with David group?
That was in Mission in the Mix.
Okay.
Body language. What you know about that? What's up, David? David Tragg. That was Mission in the Mix. My first time in DanceFest was with Soul Force.
And which piece was that?
Oh gosh. Was that the Hey piece? Was that it?
Hey,
I think that might have been it.
Favorite pieces.
In 2007. I remember because we had the brown sweat outfits and the DanceFest colors it had Alan Frias on the ground. So Mind Over Matter was there, and the colors were brown and red. And the year before that was blue and white, and that was 2006, where me and Stephanie couldn't do it. And Soul Force did that piece, I think, with like the Mary J. Blige song, the love theme.
But then you did the superhero piece.
That was the last piece. Remember, I died.
You died.
So yeah, it was like 2007, 2008. No, was it that many? That was 2010, I think. I don't even know.
So if your first piece in DanceFest was Hey, That was one of my favorite pieces of Soul Force. And basically it was just my commentary about how these dance companies all follow each other and do the same things. And it was just like, why don't you have your own voice? Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this out of love, kids, is that especially when you go to these competitions, these kids are good, but they all look the same. And then you just start seeing and just kind of, it just gets monotonous, and you see the same faces and the same moves, the same music, the same little runs down here with the thing. And I'm just like, I can't take it. Yeah. Why? You know, which is why people say the Dance Fest is so special, because you get so much diversity, you know, and that's an testament, especially to the beginning of Dance Fest, when you'd have Media Circus and Culture Shock and New Style Motherlode and what they called DS players back then.
Oh, are they from Colorado? No.
No, I was talking about Seach. I think it was DS players, but I feel, oh no, it was when Gary Kendall and Seach and all those guys, and they were amazing. What were they called?
Girl, I don't know.
Anyways, they all had their own styles, and it was just so nice. There was no way that one would bite off the other, because they all had their own style. And I asked some people that I respected, I was like, what's up with this transformation now that a lot of these kids look the same? And somebody said, well, YouTube, everybody looks at the stuff. And then what do you think? Do you think that
makes sense? That makes sense, right? Because you're being, you know, when I go, you're always influenced by the things that you see. But hopefully what happens is you already have like the foundation of like your style, and then you maybe take these other little parts and create a new thing, and you know, you grow and develop from the stuff you see. But maybe with YouTube, it's like you're seeing too much of the same thing, because you know, whatever gets the hits and those get the most plays, and that's what comes, you know, the whole algorithm. I don't know, but I never thought about that before. But I remember, I feel like there was a time where like Funkonometry. My tricks.
Sorry, it just hit me.
You're like, oh, I gotta say it before I lose it again.
Mind tricks.
Yeah. But I remember Funkonometry, and I just remember the blonde whipping her hair. I love Funkonometry.
Yeah.
But then I started seeing a lot of like Funkonometry-like performances, and I was like,
right.
Can we do
same thing with AOV? They kind of started their own thing, and then all these little AOV wannabes. So that was what was so special. It seemed like back in the day. And when a couple of times I've been asked to be one of the judges at these competitions, and that's the thing I write the most. Well, yeah, I say, find your own voice. So you can't really do that. So competitions, they have things that you have to do. You have to be exactly this amount of time. Sometimes it has to start with a group and end with a group, and has to do. So that's why they do end up sometimes looking a lot of the same. Is because they have these prerequisites. There's also a lot, in my opinion, of freaking symmetry. Like everything is like a combination of a cheerleader. And, you know, to me, like, there's just so much interest in like things being asymmetrical, giving me different things to focus on, having, you know, layers and all of that. But obviously that's not really competition material. So, but.
Right. I mean, if you gotta, you know, meet certain rules, but when you talk about the flow and some asymmetry, that reminds me of this dance company where they use the smoke. Girl, that was
Brandy.
hot.
That's gonna be in DanceFest. You didn't know?
No, that's one of my favorite pieces. And then my other, I'm like, I know you didn't ask me this, but I'm gonna talk about it. One of my other Pro Phenomenon.
I know
Girl, I know you know that, but I'm saying it out loud.
So we at DanceFest Online this year, we are going to be airing the entire piece of Vice by Bird Gang. And then we're also, this Pro Phenomenon is going to be in one of the montages. So it was hard for me to decide some of my favorite pieces throughout the last 21 years.
Right.
but I kind of got some of the iconic ones. Definitely Vice with the smoke, because it was interesting to look at, but the conceptual, it all got us on a real human level because of it was talking about addictive behaviors. And we all have them in some way or another. You can't be human without feeling that in some way or another towards something. And then Pro Phenomenon was just on another level really early. They had their own music and they had their own style. And the other one that we're going to be showing a good chunk of, which I think is one of the ones that people talked about in DanceFest for many years after, is Ill Abilities.
Yes.
And I think that next week we're going to have a member of Ill Abilities as our guest. And I am so excited, because let me tell you, honestly, like, there was so many tears that year or 2 years that they've come, so many tears of people having these self-realizations of, wait a minute, what am I limiting myself if I can see these people doing what they do? But we'll talk to him next week about that. All right, so what you got?
Bust these out. This is Corey at New Style Motherload.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Girl, that was on top. All right, let me see what else we got. What else we got in here? Girl, there's some old pictures in here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
your
my
piece.
Is that my piece?
Yeah, that's your piece. That's Ultimate Challenge.
Oh, my God.
Girl, I got it written on the back.
Yep.
Oh,
that was my video game piece. That was my video game.
yes.
They were like players of a video.
I don't know.
Welcome to.
You got, this is salsa.
Oh, right. I used to have
that?
salsa. I used to have
That's
a
right,
salsa.
girl.
That's right.
Like, I don't know what else is. I know I have pictures of you and Yeshua, but I might have to wait until next time, because they're not right on top.
All right. Well, that was.
But yes, this is one of my favorite pictures. I used to have this in my office at work.
That's adorable.
Because I love looking at it. It is.
Adorable.
Anyway, so yeah, next time, pictures of Micaya and Lil Yesh. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying Lil Yesh.
It's all good. It's all good. So I think we covered a whole lot of stuff. We covered respect. We covered DanceFest. We had memories. We talked about Soul Force. How about one last thing? Do you have any on stage problems or on stage mishaps that you want to share?
Trying to, it's hard sometimes because you get the tech rehearsal sometimes mixed up with the performance, especially when it's like, oh, from 2007. And then, you don't always do the same, you do the same piece at multiple performances, but I can't remember any big missteps from DanceFest. I remember when we did the hero piece and we had to like get undressed and take your clothes. And I had an eye patch.
Yeah.
So there was like, I'm wearing the eye patch. I had to get used to that. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't see. But then,
right.
I took it off and it was like bright light everywhere, but not any like huge mishaps with DanceFest. But I do have a memory with Mission in the Mix. I mean, that's a little with the same piece. Yeah. With that piece we did with Hey. So we were doing Mission in the Mix, right? We do that like 6 performances, two weekends in a row. So there was one weekend performance where the music stopped mid-performance. Do you remember that? And what's that?
The heat or something made it happen, or?
Oh, I think so. Something. Mm-hmm. And, you're like, oh crap, this is a live show. Oh, damn, the music just stopped. What do I do? And we didn't really, so we just went off stage, right? And then the music started again. And because we had rehearsed so much, we knew exactly where to start with that music. And
I remember that. I was so impressed with you guys. I was so impressed with you all. You were that's right.
We did it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Soul Force has had a lot of problems. Like I've had a dancer on the day of DanceFest, her foot get run over by a car.
Oh my goodness.
I had a dancer so sick backstage that she couldn't perform, and the understudy had to jump in. And I learned this during intermission, and they had to perform in second half, and I'm just like running back there and restaging everything. I've had people kick each other on stage and forget their costumes. Me, back in the day when I was a dancer, a performer, I had a fake ponytail that came off on stage, and I picked it up and like swang it, threw it off. And then the dreaded fishnets, the worst thing in the world. If you are wearing fishnets and you have any kind of jewelry, they're going to get stuck. You're like, your hand is stuck on your leg until you get off stage.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
I remember with Soul Force, like with DanceFest, it was like if something, at least when I was in it, I was like, we're going to solve this shit on our own. Yeah. Micaya does not need to know. We can solve this. And then later we'd be like, oh yeah, such and such was like 2 hours late, and you know, we took care of it.
Exactly. I heard about those things way later at Christmas parties or something.
Exactly.
Oh man. Well, it's been fun talking to you. It was funny because I said to you in jest a week or two ago, I said you and I could just have our own episode where we just go back and forth and talk. And it happened today because our guest didn't show up, and it was amazing. Right. So if we can reschedule him, it'll be great. If not, next week for sure. I'm so excited. We have Luca from Ill Abilities. But meanwhile, it was so fun talking to you and going back and reminiscing with you today, Brandy.
It was fun. Yes. I'm going to find those pictures.
Find those pictures. And everybody, just don't forget that the DanceFest is happening this year online. SFIHHDF.com, November 21st at 12 p.m. Pacific time. We can't wait to see you. We're going to have so many things that are going to help you keep your head up and your heart full during these crazy times of Corona and whatnot.
That's right. We're still going 22 years, and we're going to keep it going. Keep it going. Can't keep us down.
No. All right, everybody. Until next time, much love and respect. Bye.